Hey, welcome to this new lecture. This is the most important lecture you have had so far in this course. So please try to make the most of it. And this is actually a new video that I'm adding to the course. I didn't have this lecture a few times ago, so I added this quite a while after I published the course. And until now, I had explained this concept, so the errors, little by little in other lectures, but I felt that was not enough. And I was seeing that students were still having difficulties in understanding and dealing with errors in Python. So I decided to make a dedicated lecture for errors in Python. So here we are. And I said this is the most important lecture because, we learn about functions and strings and numbers until now in the previous videos. And these are individual concepts that, you'll learn now or later, you'll learn functions and strings and etc. But if you don't know how to read an error, how to understand an error and deal with it, if you don't know that, you'll have troubles dealing with everything, every other object like functions and strings and numbers, etc. So understanding an error and knowing how to deal with it, how to fix it is very important. And even the most experienced programmers, they make errors in their programs. The difference is that they know how to read these errors, how to understand them and fix them. But everyone makes errors. So if an error shows in your program, don't panic. Just follow the instructions that I'll give you in this video on how to fix the error. So that's what this lecture is about. So what is an error anyway? An error in a program is a bug that causes the program to function incorrectly. Now, in Python, we have basically two types of errors. We have syntax errors and we have exceptions. Let's first focus on syntax errors and let's forget about exceptions. We'll go to exceptions after we explain syntax errors. I have this code here, and actually, this is a Python file. This is the icon showing on a Mac. So currently I am on a Mac computer. But that doesn't make the slightest difference. No matter where you are, Linux, Windows or Mac, everything is the same. And so, I have a terminal here and let me go ahead and execute this program. This has a few errors, so let me show them. On Mac you can call Python 3 with the Python 3 command. On Windows you can just call Python or whatever command you are using. You can also use any editor that you like. And so, errors.py is the name I gave to the script. Execute. So, this is now an example of a syntax error. And this is the entire body of the error message. And this is very important. So, whenever you get an error, the first advice I give you is don't panic. Just focus on the error, read it line by line, just like you're reading a poem or whatever. So, the first line of the error points you to the name of the file that has the error. In this case, is errors.py. Then you have a comma, and after the comma you have the line where the error occurred. So it's line 3. And you can see here that line 3 is this one here. But you also have, for your convenience, Python prints out the line in the terminal. So int 9, here is where the error is. And just after that, you have the type of the error. So it's a syntax error. You also have other types of errors, such as name error, type error, but those are exceptions. And I'll explain later why we call them exceptions. So this is one type of error, syntax error, and the others are exceptions. So this is a type, and then you have a description after the colon. Sometimes the description is more specific, more detailed. This time is just invalid syntax. So you have to figure out where you did some error, where you missed some syntax of your program. And you also have this arrow here pointing upwards. The arrow points you either at the token that the error is occurring or at the end of the token. So a token is, this is the token in this case 9. So it can be a number, it can be a string, anything. So at this point, this is pointing at the token, but it could also be like that. 999. Save the script. Execute. In this case, you see that it's pointing you at the end of the token. So around here you have an error now. And I know that int is actually a function. And functions in Python, they need to have brackets. So you need to pass 999 inside brackets, like that. And delete that. Save. And execute again. Alright. You've got another error, but don't panic again. This is my advice always. Instead read the error, it says file errors.py, the file, line 5. Oh, line 5 this time. So it's not line 3 anymore, which means that line 3 was fixed. So what Python is doing is it's going through all the lines one by one from top to bottom. It checks the first line, it says, oh, it's fine. No error there, goes to the next line, no error. Goes to the third line, no error this time. Fourth line is also fine. And fifth line has an error. So again, it's a syntax error. And this one is more specifically described. So missing parentheses in call to print. Note that you'll get this error only if you are on Python 3. If you are on Python 2, this won't be an error because in Python 2, print was a statement and was not a function. So with statements like return or print in Python 2, you didn't have to pass brackets. This syntax would be correct. So again, this arrow here is pointing you at the token. So we just add brackets there. Ctrl S to save the script and execute again. This time we don't get any error, so the script executed fine and printed out the output here. 1, 2, 3. So we had 3 print functions printing out output. This doesn't return any output because we're not printing anything. So this just gets the function input and produces some output, but that doesn't print anything. If you want to print it, you want to pass the print statement function there. There could also be other types of syntax errors, and such as you want to define a list 1, 2, and 3, but instead of closing it with a square bracket, you use a round bracket instead, like that. Save the script and execute. And you see that you got a syntax error, invalid syntax, at line 5, which is this one in here. Again, the arrow points you at the token, so you need to figure out how to fix this round bracket here. And you know that you need to close it with a square bracket, so that should fix the issue. So that's about syntax errors. They are very easy to fix. In the next lecture, I'll explain exceptions. So see you there.